Alright everyone, welcome to another multi-time frame analysis video where we take a stock and we break it down from the higher time frames all the way down hanggang sa daily time frame, no? Ang purpose po nito is mas mabigyan natin ng clarity, ng karagdagang detalye at ng direction lang yung mga plano natin that could pertain to this particular stock. And in this video, ang pag-uusapan po natin ay ang Macro Asia Corporation or MAC. Okay? Now, let's start off with the monthly time frame kasi tinignan ko na sa quarterly, medyo wala akong masasabi, nakakaiba, no? So, let's just start off with the monthly time frame and then slowly go down from there. Now, from the monthly time frame, makikita naman po natin that we are trading within this larger range here, no? From 3.92 hanggang 6.6. Okay? Pwede nating sabihin na itong nangyari dito was just a slight overshoot. Lumagpas lang tayo ng konti kasi if we check, we can actually see na ito, nag-break out. Ito, nag-break back down. Itong previous na level of resistance, nag-act as support dito. And then when we broke down, ito rin yung nag-act ulit as resistance, maintaining our original range. Okay? Now, that being said, ano pa ang pwede nating punahin dito sa MAC mula sa monthly time frame? Now, I would argue na itong area na to, around 4.8, nag-act na siya as resistance here, di ba? As support here, as resistance there. So ngayon, on the way down, parang ito yung nagiging, for lack of a better term, line in sand within our range. So, nung pababa, nag-act na naman siya as support here, here, and when we did break down, price was trying to come back, or rather is still trying to come back to this area of previous support, and we want to see kung mag-hold ba yan para kung umangat yan at mauntog, tas we start rolling over, then our expectation would be either mabalikan ng price yung low end ng range around 3.92 or baka tuluyan na pong mabasag yon at balikan natin tong low na to around 2.85. Okay? Now, let's go down to the weekly time frame para lang po mas matignan natin to ng mabuti at mas madagdagan ng detalye yung charts natin, no? Mas marami tayong makikitang details, mas marami tayong makikitang mga maliliit na bagay, hopefully. Now, on the weekly time frame, we can see na talagang ito nga yung range. Kitang-kita natin kung saan siya naglalaro eh. 'Di ba? And mas naging obvious tong level na to, yung 4.8 na pinag-uusapan natin. Kasi mas nakita natin kung paano nag-react yung price around that level eh. Untog dito, untog dito, 'di ba? Untog diyan and so on, no? Untog ulit dito. So, my expectation is as long as we're beneath 4.8, okay, as long as we're beneath it, hindi natin kailangang isipin tong higher end ng range natin. Now, I am not saying na kapag nag-break tayo above 4.8, ibig sabihin, immediately tradable na to between 4.8 to 6.6, no? Of course not. Marami pang pwedeng untog yan eh. But what I can say, based on what we're seeing right now, is as long as price stays beneath 4.8, I don't need to start thinking na ititrade ko ba tong buong range na to? Kasi kahit na bumili man tayo dito sa support, which again, it's not something that I'm a big fan of unless it sets up just right, no? But let's say you did. Let's say bumili kayo sa level of support na to, alright? Tapos, price starts to bounce at umangat ulit, then I would always be thinking na, okay, baka mauntog na tayo sa 4.8. At the very least, I need to take some profit there even though I know na itong buong range talaga na to ang tinitrade natin. Alam ko lang na price tends to react off of 4.8 and there's no guarantee na this time around babalikan na naman natin yung top end ng range natin. Maaaring umangat tayo, doon na tayo mauntog, mag-react, mag-collapse at mabasag na yung support once and for all, and as I said, babalikan natin tong low na to. Okay? So, based on all of that, I would just be wary na in case bumili man tayo at support, to possibly not force a trade being overly optimistic, especially given current market conditions. Now, Aside from that, ano pang pwede nating pansinin, no? Let's zoom in even further. Now, we can also see that sa weekly chart, essentially, meron tayong tight consolidation around this area right there. Now, yes, it's very choppy and everything. I get that. But if we look at it sa daily, I'm almost sure na parang ganito nga magiging itsura niya. Meron tayong isang cluster na nagko-consolidate yung price. Now, that's perfectly normal. Kasi nag-collapse tayo beneath key support. Diba? So, tama lang naman or very textbook na price parang gathers itself before it makes up its mind on what it wants to do next. Maaari nga na from here, we reverse, move higher again. Maaari din na part lang to ng series ng parang stair-step pababa ng price sa MAC, no? So that remains to be seen. Okay? Now, let's move down to the daily time frame and see if there's anything else na pwede nating punahin dito sa MAC moving forward. But before we do, reminder lang that so far, from the monthly and the weekly time frame, everything does look very bearish. Okay? Now, if you're a bottom picker, you're trying to find a great deal, my suggestion is always, syempre, number one, follow your rules, follow your system. And number two, maybe wait for some type of confirmation before jumping in because hindi ka ganun kaganda yung current market conditions natin. And then finally, sa daily time frame, ano ba ang mga pwede nating punahin? Now, first, I want to draw your attention na number one, downtrend pa rin talaga tayo, no? High, di ba? Low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and so on. No? Very, very textbook. Walang nagbago. Yes, we are trapped within a larger range, but within that range, pababa yung trend natin. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. The next is, kung mapapansin nyo, may drawing akong yellow line dito. The reason was, I was actually discussing with my students when we broke out dito sa candle na to, that there was a possibility that we could push up, maybe balikan tong 4.65. Okay? Unfortunately, we did get the push higher, pero nabitin ng konti. Inabot natin dito lang hanggang 4.56, no? Tapos, nagkaroon na tayo ng shooting star and we started pushing lower from there. Fortunately, hindi namin to trinade kasi it didn't really give the setup that we wanted to see. But the possibility existed that the trade could have been taken. Had it not been a very bearish market, it likely would have been taken. And I just wanted to point that out kasi sa ganitong mga multi-time frame analysis, I want to be very thorough. I want to discuss lots of scenarios kasi kaya nyo pinapanood tong video na to, you want to learn as much as you can about MAC, di ba? About yung analysis natin sa MAC. Now that we've discussed all of that, ano pa ba ang pwede nating punahin dito sa MAC? Number one, we might be forming some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern dito sa MAC, no? Now, it's a very weird shape. Medyo anemic ng konti yung itsura, but it's there. So, if that actually sets up, okay, I would still maintain na the better trade, the higher conviction trade is if we can retake tong 4.8. Okay? But, kung mas aggressive kayo, kung very bullish kayo ng MAC, kung mabuo nga ng maayos tong pattern na to and we do break out, then perhaps you can start looking for retest to the neckline that you could trade from to see if this could push higher. With targets being either, kung conservative kayo, una, 4.65 or pwedeng straight na to 4.8, no? Based on our higher time frame analysis. That's why higher time frame analysis is important kasi it allows us to view charts from a greater scope, no? Mas alam natin na mas magandang key target yung 4.8 kasi it's a level that's seen across multiple time frames. But when we move down, we know that even though we're targeting 4.8, we need to take notice of 4.65 because as we can see, dito sa daily chart, key level din siya. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, yun yung una ko napansin. Possible na mag-form yan. That's why from here, crucial na if MAC is gonna fight back, we want to see it pushing higher from here and breaking above itong neckline na to sooner rather than later. And then from there, mag-hold and we can start seeing more bullish movement para masabi natin na baka magkaroon ng either bounce or a short-term or medium-term reversal from here. Now, am I saying na kapag nabuo yan, dapat iniisip natin kaagad 6.25 na or 6.6? Of course not, no? Kailangan maging realistic pa rin tayo. Marami pa ring levels na pwedeng mauntog along the way, etong si Mac. Now, kung kunwari naman, let's say na medyo umangat na ng konti, balikan niya tong yellow line, mauntog ulit, which it did here, no? It did right there. Balikan niya yan, mauntog ulit, then we start breaking down. Then, the inverse head and shoulders is no longer valid. Invalidated na yung thesis, and the expectation from there is either mabalikan na nga natin yung support at 3.92 or tuluyan na siyang mabasag. Okay? And this is why it's very important to wait for specific triggers before you get into a trade. Having a bias na, ay, baka dahil meron tayong mabubuong inverse head and shoulders, dapat pumasok na ako. Para kung sakali man na mabuo yan, okay na, mababa yung average ko. That's not technically true. Well, sorry, that's technically true, no? But it's not the best way to go about approaching things kasi just because you have a bias, it doesn't mean that the market needs to agree with you. I would rather na yung market is showing some type of agreement na before I jump in rather than trying to force the market's hand by saying na, hindi, papasok ako, kailangan mag-agree ka sa akin. It just doesn't work that way. Ano ba naman pakialam sa atin ng market, di ba? Hindi naman tayo big fish. Diba? Ewan ko sa inyo, baka kayo, kaya nyong pataasin yung Mac mag-isa, pero ako, hindi ko kaya eh. Di ba? Hindi naman tayo big fish. Small fish lang tayo. So, dapat, sumasabay lang tayo sa current. Di ba? Sumasabay lang tayo sa galaw ng tubig. So, guys, dito po nagtatapos yung video natin, no? I hope nakatulong po to sa inyo kahit konti and may natutunan kayo kahit papano. And if so, I would really appreciate it if you give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, guys, maraming salamat po sa panonood. I really appreciate it. Good luck and happy trading!